Let's talk about something that's quietly changing the way you'll own a car. A huge shift is happening in the auto industry, and it's all about subscriptions. Yeah, subscriptions for features that are already built into the car you paid for. I mean, think about it for a second. Your phone gets software updates all the time, right? They add new features, make it faster, fix bugs, long after you've bought it. So why doesn't your car do the same thing? Well, it's about to. And that one simple question, it opens up a whole world of new technology, new ways for car makers to make money, and trust me, a ton of controversy. The core technology that makes all of this possible is something called the Software-Defined Vehicle, or SDV. The big idea here is that a car's abilities aren't just about the physical hardware anymore, the engine, the transmission. More and more, what a car can do is defined by its software. And that software can be updated and upgraded wirelessly, over the air. Honestly, the easiest way to wrap your head around this is to just think of it as a smartphone on wheels. It's the perfect analogy. Just like you can download a new app to give your phone a totally new skill, car makers can now push a software update to your car to improve its performance or even unlock a brand new feature you didn't have yesterday. Okay, so here's our game plan. We've just talked about the basic tech. Now we're going to look at the business model this has unleashed. Then we'll dive right into the controversy it's stirring up, see how people are fighting back, and finally try to figure out what this all means for the very idea of owning a car. So how does this new tech actually translate into a business strategy? Well, this whole shift isn't just about giving you cool new features, it's about money. SDVs give automakers a golden opportunity to move away from just a one-time sale and create these new, ongoing streams of revenue. It's a fundamental change to how they've done business for 100 years. But look, not all car subscriptions are created equal. It really breaks down into three main types. First, you have vehicle access, which is basically a super flexible lease. Then there are connected services, things like GM's OnStar or Tesla's Full Self-Driving, which makes sense to pay for since they require constant data and support. And then there's the one causing all the drama, feature on demand. This is where they charge you a fee to turn on hardware that's already installed in your car. And if you're wondering why car companies are pushing this so aggressively, just look at these projections. We're not talking about pocket change here. GM is expecting to make up to $25 billion a year from this stuff by 2030. That's billion with a B. Wall Street absolutely loves predictable, recurring revenue, and automakers see this as their ticket to the party. And this brings us right to the heart of the conflict. This whole idea that you should have to pay a monthly fee to use something that is physically part of the car that you bought and paid for. This is where a lot of people are saying, hold on a minute. This quote from New York State Senator James Skoufis just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly sums up the frustration. You paid for the car, right? And that includes all its physical parts. So why should you have to pay again just to flip a switch and turn them on? It feels like being charged rent for something you already own. The most infamous example of this, the one everyone talks about, is BMW's heated seats. In some countries, BMW started selling cars with the heating coils already built into the seats, but then they wanted to charge you a monthly fee to actually activate them through software. The public backlash was, well, pretty much instant and pretty fierce. And don't think for a second this is just a luxury brand thing. Toyota started moving the remote start function, a feature that used to just be a button on your key fob, into a paid subscription service. So after your free trial runs out, you have to start paying every month, or the feature just stops working. So you have this fundamental clash of worldviews. On one side, you have consumers saying, hey, I already paid for this hardware. Charging me again feels like you're just nickel and diming me. But on the other side, the automakers are arguing, look, we need this recurring revenue to pay for all the nonstop software development, security updates, and new safety features you want. Now, this isn't just a debate happening in some online forums. The pushback has been so strong that it's leading to some very real consequences, from massive consumer anger all the way to actual legislation being proposed. And the numbers on public opinion are they're undeniable. Research from Cox Automotive shows that a huge majority of drivers, we're talking more than 3 out of every 4, are dead set against paying these kinds of fees. This isn't some niche complaint, it's a massive mainstream rejection of the whole idea. And yet, and this is the wild part, even with 75% of people saying they hate it, the potential prize is just so big. $25 billion for GM alone, that automakers are willing to risk their reputation to chase it. And that's the central tension driving this whole story.
Because of all this pushback, governments are starting to step in. New York has proposed a bill that would specifically ban these hardware-based subscriptions. And we all know how this works. What starts in one state often spreads. You're already seeing similar bills popping up in places like New Jersey and Massachusetts. A legal battle is brewing.
So where does this all go from here? The auto industry is really at a crossroads. They desperately want that recurring revenue, but their first big attempt has blown up in their face. It's forcing everyone to rethink what car ownership and value even mean in the 21st century.
And through all this, a new principle is starting to emerge, a message being sent loud and clear from both consumers and lawmakers. It's simple. If you want a reoccurring payment from me, you'd better provide some clear, ongoing reoccurring value. You can't just charge me to use something I already physically possess.
And you know what? We're already seeing the industry start to adapt. Instead of these really controversial monthly fees for hardware, some car makers are backtracking. They're bundling features back into different trim levels or offering them as a one-time software purchase. The focus is shifting to the kinds of subscriptions people are more okay with. Services that have obvious ongoing costs, like connectivity or major software improvements. And really, all of this leads to a much bigger, more philosophical question. As our cars become more like services and less like simple products, what does it truly mean to own your vehicle anymore? Did you buy a piece of hardware? Or did you just buy a license to access a platform that happens to have wheels? That's the huge question that automakers and all of us are going to have to answer very soon.